You're about to stumble upon a profound truth, a secret that 99% of men will tragically live their entire lives without ever grasping. It's the hidden trigger that doesn't just attract women, but makes them utterly addicted to a man. Forget about his chiseled jawline, his overflowing bank account, or his impressive social status. Those are superficial trinkets. What we're talking about is a single, powerful psychological shift, a paradigm change that completely rewrites the rules of attraction. If you choose to ignore this crucial insight, you'll remain perpetually trapped in that soul-crushing cycle, constantly chasing, tirelessly begging, and forever wondering why. Despite all your efforts, she consistently loses interest, slipping through your fingers like sand. But let me lay bare a fundamental truth, one etched into the very fabric of human connection. Women don't fall for what you do. No, they fall for how you make them feel. This isn't just a slight distinction. It's the entire universe of difference. And when you truly, profoundly master this feeling, something incredible happens. She won't just like you. She'll begin to obsess over you. You'll find her chasing you, actively seeking your attention, even fighting for it if she senses competition. Why? Because once you unlock this deeper level of connection, you won't just attract her on a surface level. You'll effectively own her emotions. You'll become an indispensable part of her emotional landscape. Now, let's be absolutely clear. I am not talking about manipulation here. This isn't about playing games, employing deceptive tactics, or bending someone's will against their nature. What I'm discussing is something far more profound, something inherent to our very being. It's about understanding human nature, the deep, primal, evolutionary wiring that dictates attraction and emotional response. This is a fundamental truth that, shockingly, most men never even come close to tapping into. And today, right now, I am literally handing you the key to this understanding. But I implore you, pay very close attention. Absorb every word, because this isn't some cheap, fleeting pickup trick you can use once and forget. This is the existential difference between being just another option in a sea of interchangeable faces and becoming the man she truly can't forget. He's the one who lingers in her mind, a persistent, captivating echo long after you've left the room. He's the man who, by comparison, makes every other guy she encounters seem utterly boring, bland, and forgettable. If you harbor any doubt, if you think for a moment that this is mere hype or overblown promises, then I challenge you, think again. Reconsider your skepticism, because by the absolute end of this discussion, you will possess the clarity to understand, with surgical precision, exactly why some men effortlessly have women chasing them, while others are mysteriously ghosted after a single date. This isn't a matter of random luck or arbitrary fortune. It's strategy, it's psychology, and it's been patiently waiting for you to recognize it, to claim it, and to wield its power responsibly. So, lean in close, turn up the volume, clear away any distractions, and get ready, because what you're about to learn will fundamentally, irrevocably change everything you thought you knew about attraction and connection. Let's begin this transformative journey. Let's begin with something incredibly fundamental, a truth so deeply woven into the very fabric of human nature that, in our fast-paced modern world, we often tragically overlook its immense power. Imagine this: when a woman feels truly, authentically seen by you, and I don't mean just superficially noticed, not merely acknowledged with a polite nod, but understood at a level that transcends mere words, where her essence resonates with yours, something profoundly transformative shifts within her perception of you. This isn't about empty flattery, a hollow compliment designed to impress, nor is it about performing some rehearsed, scripted routine, like an actor hitting marks in a play. No, this is about a profound psychological truth, a core human yearning that dictates much of our social interaction. People, and women in particular, crave genuine recognition, not just recognition of their outward appearance, their accomplishments, or their roles, but recognition of their deepest, most authentic essence. They long for someone to peer beyond the surface and truly connect with who they are at their core. Think about the countless interactions you witness every day. How many men actually see the women they engage with? The honest answer, unfortunately, is very few. Most are operating on autopilot, their minds buzzing with distractions. They're scanning the room, half listening to her words while simultaneously formulating their next clever response. While she's still speaking, they're physically present but utterly, unequivocally emotionally absent. And here's the crucial point. Women feel that absence. They possess an innate, finely tuned radar that senses when a man's attention is divided, when his focus is transactional, merely seeking an outcome rather than truly transformative, seeking genuine connection. But when you truly lock in, when you give her the incredibly rare, precious gift of your undivided, undistracted presence, you communicate something extraordinary, something that resonates deep within her soul. You silently, powerfully declare, you matter. What you say matters. Who you are, in this moment, matters more than anything else. This isn't just about romantic pursuit. It's about fundamental human dignity. At our core, we all yearn to be witnessed, to have someone look at us, truly look, and see beyond the facade, to see the complexities, the beautiful contradictions, the unspoken dreams, and the quiet fears that shape us. When you consistently provide that for a woman, when you listen not just with the shallow intent to respond, but with the profound, genuine intent to understand, you forge a connection that utterly transcends the superficial. Most men, caught in the endless loop of trying to impress, to prove their worth, to take rather than truly give, completely miss this. But the man who masters this subtle, yet potent art of presence, he doesn't need to shout to be heard. He doesn't need grand gestures to be seen. He stands out, not because he's louder or flashier, but because he's infinitely deeper. He offers a connection that others cannot. Now, let's unpack this concept further. What does it concretely mean to make a woman feel truly seen? How does one actually do this? It begins with the most primal form of human connection, eye contact. I'm not talking about that creepy, unblinking, staring into your soul gaze that makes someone uncomfortable. Rather, it's the kind of eye contact that subtly, yet powerfully, says, I'm here with you. I'm present. My focus is entirely on you right now. There's a profound reason why direct eye contact is one of the most intimate, unfiltered forms of human interaction. It completely bypasses the filtering of words and creates a direct, unadulterated line straight to emotion. When you hold her gaze with a calm, confident demeanor, you communicate a bedrock of stability, an unwavering sincerity, and an inherent strength. You're not nervously scanning the room for something better, nor are you anxiously glancing away, betraying your discomfort. You are simply present, and that quiet, unwavering presence is profoundly magnetic. Then, there's the art of listening, real listening. Let's be honest, most people don't truly listen. They merely wait for their turn to speak, formulating their rebuttal or their anecdote while the other person is still mid-sentence. But when you listen with the genuine intent to understand her perspective, her feelings, her narrative, rather than just waiting for your opportunity to reply, you unlock something incredibly rare and precious. You begin to hear the subtle nuances in her voice, the poignant pauses between her words, and perhaps most importantly, the unspoken things, the emotions, the desires, the fears that she's not articulating outright. And when you gently, thoughtfully reflect those things back to her, when you ask truly insightful questions, when you show a genuine, unfeigned curiosity about her thoughts, her experiences, her inner world, you validate her existence in a way that very few others ever bother to. You make her feel profoundly real in a world that, sadly, all too often reduces women to mere objects or, worse, obstacles in someone else's path. But here's the absolute critical distinction, the non-negotiable truth. This isn't a tactic. This is not a calculated trick to win her over or manipulate her emotions. If you approach it with that mindset, as a strategic ploy, she will instinctively sense the manipulation. That carefully constructed connection, no matter how convincing, will inevitably crumble under the weight of insincerity. Authenticity is everything. You have to genuinely care about understanding her. To truly want to connect with her on a deeper level, you have to be willing to step outside your own ego, your own agenda, and truly enter her world, even if just for a fleeting moment. That, my friends, is the fundamental difference between a man who leaves an indelible, lasting impression and a man who simply fades into the background noise, forgotten as quickly as he appeared. And let's talk about why this is so immensely powerful from a psychological standpoint. When you make a woman feel profoundly seen, you tap into one of her deepest, most fundamental desires, the inherent human need to be chosen. And not just chosen for her looks, or for what she can tangibly do for you, or for the convenience she might offer, but for who she genuinely is at her core. That, my friends, is an intoxicating, soul-affirming feeling. It's the profound difference between merely being wanted for what you possess and being truly valued for who you are. Most men, sadly, operate from a place of simply wanting her. Very few truly value her. And when you consistently demonstrate that you do when you show her, through your unwavering attention, your genuine presence, your sincere willingness to engage with her mind and her soul, you don't just become desirable. You become irreplaceable. This is precisely where most men stumble, where they miss the mark entirely. They operate under the misguided belief that attraction is built on grand, sweeping gestures or on perfectly rehearsed, smooth pickup lines. But the undeniable truth is that attraction is meticulously built, brick by brick, in the micro moments, the subtle way you lean in when she speaks, showing genuine engagement, the seemingly insignificant way you remember a small detail she mentioned days ago, the almost magical way you make her feel like, for those precious moments, she is the single most important person in the entire room, all without uttering a single word about it. Those countless micro moments don't just happen in isolation. They accumulate. They weave together, thread by thread, to create a powerful, undeniable narrative in her mind. This man is different. This man sees me. And once that deeply resonant narrative takes hold, firmly entrenched within her psyche, no amount of superficial competition, no rival suitor, can possibly shake it. So, here is your challenge, your profound opportunity. The very next time you find yourself with a woman, make a conscious, unwavering decision to be there, not just physically occupying the same space, but mentally, emotionally, unequivocally present. Listen as if her words are the absolute only thing that matters in the universe. Look at her as if she is truly the only woman in the room. And do this not because you're trying to get something from her, not because it's a strategic move, but because you genuinely recognize the profound humanity within her, the unspoken struggles, the soaring dreams, the quiet, often unnoticed strength that defines her. When you consistently do that, you don't just attract her, you elevate her. And in that profound act of elevation, you unequivocally elevate yourself. Final thought, the greatest, most invaluable gift you can ever bestow upon a woman isn't your money, your lofty status, or even your raw affection. It is, without a shadow of a doubt, your attention, the kind of rare, undivided attention that makes her feel, perhaps for the very first time in a very long time, like she's truly deeply seen. Master that, and you will, without question, master the true art of connection. Now, go out there. Look at her. Really look. The rest, I assure you, will naturally follow. Let's cut through the noise and address something absolutely fundamental about human nature, truth, that modern dating culture has aggressively tried to erase, yet one that remains as powerfully, undeniably true today as it was 1,000 years ago. This truth is simple, yet profoundly impactful. People desire what they have to pursue. This isn't about engaging in manipulative games or employing childish tactics. No, it's about grasping a basic psychological reality, that attraction isn't just sparked by presence alone, but is powerfully ignited and intensified by anticipation. Consider this: when something is too easily obtained, when it's handed to us on a silver platter with no effort required, our brains, quite remarkably, assign it less inherent value. It becomes common, less desirable. But when effort is required, when there's an element of mystery, when the outcome isn't immediately guaranteed, that's when desire doesn't just flicker. It positively intensifies, burning brighter and more fiercely. Now, let's apply this crucial principle directly to relationships. Most men, operating from a place of genuine though often misguided good intentions, make a critical mistake. They mistakenly believe that by being overly available, by responding instantly to every text, by showering a woman with constant attention before she's even truly earned it, by being their ever-present shadow, they are somehow proving their worth, showcasing their dedication. But here's the profound paradox, the counterintuitive truth. The more you try to prove your worth through relentless, constant availability, the less valuable you ultimately become in her eyes. Why does this happen? Because you've inadvertently removed the chase. You've eliminated the very element that makes attraction dynamic, exciting, and perpetually engaging, the uncertainty. This isn't about playing cold or indifferent, or pretending you don't care. Far from it. It's about cultivating a life so rich, so full, so deeply purpose-driven that you don't need her validation to feel complete, to feel worthy. A man who is always available is often, subtly, a man without a clear mission, a man without significant depth, a man whose life seemingly revolves around waiting for external validation. And here's the key: women intuitively, instinctively recognize this. They are drawn, powerfully, to men who are actively moving towards something, men who are driven by their own passions, men who aren't anxiously waiting around for a text back, men who deeply understand that their time and attention are valuable. Finite resources. Think about it in terms of basic economics, a principle as old as trade itself. Scarcity increases value. If you're always on demand, if you're consistently the one initiating, always the one waiting for her to respond, you've inadvertently positioned yourself as a commodity easily acquired, perhaps easily discarded. You've become something taken for granted, rather than something genuinely cherished. But when you become selective with your attention, when you are authentically engaged in your own personal growth, when you're not afraid to allow her to wonder about you, to ponder your thoughts and actions, that's when she genuinely starts to invest. That's when she starts to chase. Now, let's clarify something crucial to avoid any misunderstanding. This isn't about playing hard to get in some childish, manipulative way. It's absolutely not about intentionally ignoring her or pretending you don't care. When you genuinely do, it's about achieving balance. It's about deeply understanding that attraction doesn't thrive in an all-or-nothing environment. It flourishes beautifully in the dynamic space between presence and absence. If you're always there, always accessible, always predictable, she has no room to miss you, no space for her imagination to wander. If you're never there, she'll simply assume you're not interested and move on. The true art, the sweet spot, lies precisely in that middle ground, being genuinely engaged, but never desperate, interested, but never obsessed. Here's how this dynamic works psychologically. When a woman genuinely has to wonder about you, when she finds herself asking questions like, does he like me? What's he thinking about? Why isn't he responding immediately? Her mind, quite remarkably, begins to work in your favor. She starts to invest emotionally. She begins to replay your interactions, analyzing your words, scrutinizing your gestures, looking for subtle signs, for clues. And the more mental and emotional energy she expends on you, the more deeply, irrevocably attached she becomes. This isn't manipulation. It is, quite simply, human nature. We inherently value what we put effort into. The greater the investment, the higher the perceived value. But there's an even deeper layer here, one that most men unfortunately miss entirely. The chase isn't just about her pursuing you. It's fundamentally about you being someone truly worth pursuing. If you're stagnant, predictable, complacent, if you're not actively growing and evolving, why on earth would she chase you? What exactly would she be chasing for? The chase only truly works if you yourself are moving forward. If you are a man who is constantly evolving, who possesses compelling goals, burning passions, and a rich, fulfilling life that exists independently of her, that's what makes you genuinely intriguing. That's what keeps her coming back, eager for more. This is where so many men falter. They mistakenly believe attraction is solely about what they say, the perfectly crafted pickup line, the clever, witty text. But attraction is far more about what you are. Are you a man who is on a mission, driven by purpose? Are you someone who commands respect, not by demanding it with ego or force, but by naturally embodying it through your actions and your being? Are you living your life in such a way that it makes her genuinely want to be a part of your world, to align herself with your trajectory? That, my friends, is the real chase, not playing contrived games, but being so utterly focused on your own compelling path that she feels compelled to step up, to reach for you, to join you on that journey. And here's the most crucial part, a truth often overlooked even in long-term relationships: the chase never truly ends. Even within a deeply committed relationship, attraction is lovingly maintained through continued mystery, through the delightful sense that there's always more to discover about you, more layers to unveil. If you become complacent, if you cease your personal growth, if you mistakenly believe you've won her and no longer need to challenge yourself, that's precisely when the spark begins to fade. Quietly, imperceptibly at first, then more rapidly. The chase isn't just a fleeting phase. It is, at its heart, a mindset. It's the profound understanding that a relationship isn't a finish line, but a continuous journey where both individuals are constantly striving, evolving, and most importantly, choosing each other every single day. So, how do you apply this powerful principle to your own life? Starting right now, begin by fundamentally reframing your approach. Don't be the man who is always, perpetually waiting for her attention, clinging to every crumb. Instead, become the man who is genuinely worthy of her attention. Cultivate a life that deeply excites you. Be busy, not as a manipulative tactic, but because you are genuinely building something meaningful, something that fuels your soul. Let her observe that your time is valuable, that your energy is a precious resource reserved for those who truly earn it. And when you do choose to give her your attention, make it count. Be fully present, completely engaged, and then, confidently, return to your overarching purpose. That's how you organically create the thrilling dynamics of the chase, not by playing games, but by being a man who is authentically, powerfully, irresistibly worth chasing. Final thought, the chase, ultimately, isn't about making her work for your affection. It's about being a man whose affection is, without question, worth working for. Build yourself into someone who doesn't just demand attention with ego or expectation, but who effortlessly, naturally commands it. Then, simply watch as she not only chases but, more importantly, chooses to stay. Drawn by the magnetism of your purposeful life, there exists a profound, yet common, misunderstanding in modern relationships about what women truly desire from a man. It's not just about security, or comfort, or even raw passion, though all of these certainly matter. What women truly crave, at the deepest, most fundamental level of their being, is inspiration. They yearn to be with someone who doesn't merely occupy space in their life, but who actively elevates it. Someone who doesn't simply love her as she is, though acceptance is crucial, but who possesses the remarkable ability to see who she could become, her highest potential, her most magnificent self, and then courageously challenges her to rise to that very vision. This is precisely where most men fail, often spectacularly. They operate under the misguided belief that simply being nice is enough. They assume that by always agreeing with everything she says, by never pushing back on her comfort zones, by meticulously creating a completely frictionless, easy existence, they are being good partners. But let me tell you, that isn't partnership. That's passivity. And passivity, my friends, is the slow, agonizing death of attraction. Women, despite what some outdated stereotypes suggest, do not fall in love with doormats. They fall deeply, powerfully in love with men who stand for something. Men who possess their own unwavering moral compass. Men who are not afraid to gently, yet firmly, call forth her highest potential, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it demands growth. Let's break down why this particular dynamic is so immensely powerful from a psychological standpoint. Human beings, at their core, are hardwired to grow. To remain stagnant, to resist evolution, is a form of spiritual or emotional death. When you authentically inspire a woman, you tap into her deepest evolutionary programming, the ancient, undeniable drive to partner with someone who will genuinely help her face life's inevitable challenges more effectively. Someone who enhances her survival and thriving. This isn't about controlling her or molding her into some predetermined image that you desire. Absolutely not. It's about recognizing that true love isn't just about acceptance. It's also about a profound, loving expectation, the expectation that she can be more, do more, and handle more than she might even believe possible for herself. Consider this deeply. The women who exhibit the most fierce loyalty, the most passionately devoted allegiance, are rarely those who were simply pampered and placated. No, they are the ones who were genuinely challenged by their men, the ones who were lovingly pushed to confront their deepest fears, to rigorously develop their latent strengths, to bravely confront their own weaknesses. There's a powerful, almost mystical alchemy that occurs when a man looks at a woman and, through his consistent actions more than his eloquent words, silently but firmly says, "I know you are capable of greatness, and I will not let you settle for less than your full potential." That kind of unwavering belief, projected with genuine conviction, is intoxicating. It creates a bond, an unspoken covenant, that superficial affection or material comfort can simply never touch. But here's the absolutely crucial distinction that separates genuine inspiration from mere criticism. This isn't about being overly critical, constantly demanding, or relentlessly pushing. It's about being the kind of man who leads by example. You cannot realistically inspire her to grow if you yourself are not actively growing. You cannot reasonably push her to face uncomfortable truths if you are consistently avoiding your own. This is precisely why your own personal development isn't a selfish endeavor. In fact, it's perhaps the most profoundly generous thing you can do for your relationships. When she observes you consistently pushing your own limits, courageously confronting your own fears, and taking full responsibility for your own life, she will naturally, almost instinctively, want her rise to meet that very standard. Think about the most magnetic figures throughout history, not just romantic archetypes, but powerful leaders, innovative thinkers, legendary warriors. What made people follow them with such unwavering conviction? It wasn't merely their power or their authority. It was their vision. They possessed an uncanny ability to see potential in others that those very individuals didn't even see in themselves. That, my friends, is your profound task as a man in a woman's life, to be the benevolent mirror that reflects back to her not just who she is in the present moment, but who she could genuinely become. And this reflection must come not through empty flattery or hollow compliments, but through genuine belief in her capabilities, coupled with the unwavering willingness to lovingly, yet firmly, hold her accountable to her highest self. This powerful principle plays out in practical, tangible ways every single day. It means having the courage to gently, yet honestly, tell her when she's making excuses for herself, instead of merely nodding along in passive agreement. It means genuinely encouraging her to take that intimidating career risk she's been avoiding, despite her fears. It means lovingly refusing to indulge her pettiness or negativity, while simultaneously remaining deeply compassionate and supportive toward her struggles. It is, undeniably, a delicate balancing act, firm but never harsh, challenging but never cruel. When you navigate this balance correctly, something truly remarkable unfolds. She doesn't resent you for pushing her. She respects you for it. And, perhaps even more importantly, she respects herself more because of your unwavering belief in her. There's a well-documented neurological basis for this phenomenon. When we are consistently around people who genuinely expect more from us, our brains actually begin to rewire themselves to meet those heightened expectations. This is famously known as the Pygmalion effect. We tend to rise or fall to the level of what is expected of us. By consistently being the man who not only sees her best self but actively calls forth her best self, you are not just subtly changing how she sees you, you are profoundly changing how she sees herself. And that, without a doubt, is the single most powerful, transformative gift you can ever bestow upon another human being. Now, let's be realistic. This level of genuine inspiration requires immense strength of character on your part. You have to be willing to risk her temporary displeasure, her fleeting upset, for the sake of her long-term growth and ultimate well-being. You have to be secure enough within yourself to know that real connection isn't about constantly being liked in the immediate moment, but about earning deep, enduring respect in the long run. Most men, unfortunately, fail here because they are terrified of conflict, petrified of her being upset with them. But that very fear, ironically, makes them weak partners. The strongest, most resilient relationships are not those devoid of conflict. Rather, they are those where both people courageously use friction as a potent fuel for mutual growth. Here's how you put this incredibly powerful principle into practical action. Starting today, first, get your own house in order. You cannot credibly inspire her to grow if you yourself are not actively engaged in your own growth journey. Your actions must speak louder than any words. Second, begin to see her not just as she is in this moment, but as she could be. Envision her highest potential, her most realized self. Hold that vision for her. Third, cultivate the courage to gently, but firmly, Challenge her when you observe her settling for less than she's truly capable of achieving. This isn't judgment, it's loving accountability. And fourth, this is absolutely critical: celebrate her growth when it happens. Acknowledge her efforts, her breakthroughs, her moments of courage. Recognition powerfully reinforces positive change and motivates further growth. Final thought: the true measure of a man isn't just in how he treats a woman, but in how he profoundly transforms her, not into someone else, but into the absolute best, most realized version of herself. Be the kind of man who doesn't just occupy a woman's life, but who genuinely elevates it. Do that, and you won't need to chase love. It will, quite naturally, chase you. Let's cut through all the superficial noise and directly address the core, unwavering truth that decisively separates men who effortlessly command respect from those who constantly, desperately beg for attention. Here it is: women don't primarily respond to what you say. They respond, powerfully, to what you believe about yourself. This isn't about adopting an arrogant facade or puffing yourself up with empty bravado. Far from it. It's about cultivating a deep, unshakable, utterly unwavering certainty that you are precisely where you're meant to be, doing exactly what you're meant to do. That profound kind of certainty is inherently magnetic, not because it loudly demands attention, but because it naturally, effortlessly draws it in. Think about the most compelling, charismatic people you've ever encountered. What was it that truly set them apart? It wasn't necessarily their dazzling looks or their vast wealth, or even their impressive accomplishments, though those might be contributing factors. No, it was their absolute conviction. They carried themselves with an almost invisible weight, a quiet, resolute assurance that radiated outwards, silently proclaiming, "I know who I am confident in my path," and nothing can shake that core belief. That is the bedrock, the unyielding foundation of real, sustainable attraction. Women possess an uncanny ability to sense this deep certainty from across a crowded room. In the way you stand, the deliberate way you speak, the steady way you hold eye contact. It communicates more than any string of words ever could. This is a man who cannot be moved. This is a man who is grounded in himself. Now, let's dissect why this inner certainty is so profoundly powerful from a psychological standpoint. Human beings are, quite literally, hardwired to seek certainty. It's an ancient, primal survival mechanism etched into our very DNA. In prehistoric times, uncertainty often meant immediate danger, risk to life. Today, that same deeply ingrained wiring makes us instinctively gravitate toward individuals who project stability, composure, and unwavering confidence. When you radiate this unshakable certainty, you trigger something fundamental, something primal. In a woman's mind, this is a man who can navigate chaos. This is a man who won't crumble under pressure. This is a man I can rely on. That's not just attractive. It's absolutely necessary for the kind of deep, lasting, and meaningful attraction that transcends the superficial. But here's precisely where most men fail, often catastrophically. They mistakenly confuse genuine self-certainty with certainty about her. They think, if I can just convince her that I'm the one, that I'm absolutely certain I want her, then she'll choose me. This thinking is fundamentally backward. True certainty isn't about her. It's profoundly about you. It's the ironclad, undeniable knowledge, deep within your being, that you are inherently valuable, worthy, and complete, entirely with or without her approval, her presence, or her validation. That is the crucial distinction that separates neediness from genuine confidence. The needy man is perpetually looking to her, externally, for validation, for reassurance of his worth. The certain man, however, knows his worth intrinsically, independent of external factors, and that profound knowing changes absolutely everything. This core difference plays out in subtle, yet utterly crucial, ways in every interaction. The uncertain man hesitates before speaking, agonizing over whether he might say the wrong thing, worried about her reaction. The certain man, conversely, speaks clearly, articulately, and authentically, largely unconcerned with perfect reactions or external judgment. The uncertain man constantly seeks reassurance, asking, "Are we okay? Do you still like me?" The certain man is the reassurance, radiating a calm, steady presence. One repels, creating a subtle pressure. The other effortlessly attracts, not through forced effort or performance, but simply through the power of being. Let's discuss how this manifests specifically in the realm of dating. The man who is fundamentally unsure of himself will almost always over-pursue. He'll double-text, triple-text. He'll agree with absolutely everything she says, even against his own better judgment. He'll rearrange his entire schedule at the drop of a hat, desperate to accommodate her every whim. Why? Because he's consumed by the terrified fear of losing her attention, of being forgotten. The certain man, on the other hand, he is engaged, yes, but not desperate. He is interested, but never overly invested. He understands, on a deep level, that if things don't work out with her, he will, unequivocally, be perfectly fine. And that very knowledge, ironically, makes it far more likely to work out with her. There's a fascinating neurological reason for this paradox. When you are truly, authentically certain of your own inherent value, you activate what's known as reciprocal liking. It's a simple, yet powerful, psychological principle. People tend to genuinely like and be drawn to those who don't desperately seek their approval. It's not a manipulative trick. It's ingrained human nature. We are instinctively drawn to individuals who are utterly comfortable in their own skin, who radiate a quiet self-assurance, because that comfort, that sense of groundedness, is profoundly contagious. When you are certain, she relaxes, feeling secure in your presence. When you are unsure, she tenses, feeling the subtle vibration of your anxiety. Your underlying energy, your core belief about yourself, dictates the entire dynamic of the interaction. Now, here's the critical distinction, one that often gets muddied. Certainty is not the same as inflexibility. It's not about being stubbornly closed-minded or rigidly unyielding. Rather, it's about possessing a core so profoundly solid that external circumstances, fleeting opinions, or temporary setbacks do not, and cannot, dictate your fundamental self-worth. The truly certain man can be wrong and admit it without feeling diminished, because his confidence isn't precariously based on an illusion of perfection. He can change his mind, adapt his perspective, and pivot his course because his identity isn't rigidly tied to always being right. That is real strength, the profound ability to adapt, to evolve, to learn, without crumbling under pressure. This brings us to the most important point of all. Certainty is earned, not faked. You cannot simply act certain and expect it to resonate genuinely. You have to become certain, and that profound transformation only occurs through real-world achievement, through courageously overcoming significant challenges, through consistently developing genuine competence in various aspects of your life. That's why dedicated personal growth isn't an optional add-on. It is, in fact, the fundamental bedrock, the indispensable foundation of everything. When you've genuinely faced difficult things and prevailed, when you've painstakingly built valuable skills and cultivated unwavering discipline, you gain an undeniable, visceral understanding of what you're truly capable of. That knowledge, born of experience and effort, cannot be taken from you. So, how do you actively cultivate this profoundly attractive quality within yourself? Start by getting ruthlessly honest about where you might be pretending, where you might be projecting a confidence you don't truly feel. Where are you unconsciously seeking external validation? Where are your actions driven by fear rather than genuine conviction? Once you've identified these areas, begin to build real, tangible evidence for your confidence. Take on challenging new experiences. Dedicate yourself to developing mastery in areas that resonate with you. Consciously push your own perceived limits. Understand that genuine certainty grows in direct proportion to your demonstrated ability to effectively handle life's complexities and challenges. Finally, practice carrying yourself in every environment, like a man who instinctively belongs wherever he is, because, fundamentally, you do. Not arrogantly, not with forced bravado, but naturally, with an effortless presence. Final thought, the most powerfully attractive thing you can ever offer a woman isn't your fleeting attention, your material resources, or even your raw, unbridled affection. It is, without a doubt, your certainty, not a desperate certainty that she'll choose you, but a quiet, unwavering certainty that you will be absolutely fine, fundamentally complete. Either way, cultivate that profound, inner certainty, and you will discover that you won't ever need to chase. Instead, you will inherently be the one worth chasing. The choice, as always, is yours. Will you live your life as a hesitant question mark, seeking external validation for your existence, or as a bold, undeniable exclamation point, confidently claiming your space in the world? Act accordingly.